Your book charts the trajectory of how Trump rose to power and all the enablers who did it along the way. Do you think that Republican leadership has learned their lesson at this stage in the game, or are they still afraid?
Well, the book certainly traces how he had lots of accomplices, that initially there was hesitation among the Republican establishment and even Rupert Murdoch and the News Corp. They were initially a little cool to Trump, but once he became the overwhelming force in the party, they jumped in and he hijacked the Republican Party and the conservative media to sort of do his bidding. And Reverend Sharpton, as the book lays out, he spent years sort of conditioning them with lies, big and small, eroding the trust that Republicans had in institutions like the media, like in the federal government. And he could lie about crowd-sized inauguration. He could lie about the path of a hurricane, as the book details, suggesting it might go into Alabama. But far more dangerously, in both of those examples, he used the power of the federal government to reverse engineer that he was correct. He had National Park Service employee doctor images about crowd size. He had the NOAA, the weather service, meteorologists were suddenly made to change forecasts so it made it look like he was correct. And that is what set the stage for the big lie and using the power of government to try to overturn an election. And it certainly seems like, to this point, most Republicans have not learned their lesson, and they're eagerly embracing him. And maybe they'd wish him to declare his candidacy after the midterms. But right now, he'll be received rapturously in Washington, D.C. today.
No, I think that the real significance of your book, The Big Lie, is that how thorough this big lie was in terms of getting organized groups of government to really fall in and support the lie. I mean, it wasn't just, I agree with the congressman, it wasn't just the personality of Donald Trump. He was able to get all kinds of things to weigh in to where people actually changed facts and leaned his way into what was absolutely erroneous, like crowd sizes or things of that nature. And for our people, our nation, to be able to understand where we need to go, we need to really understand how we got where we are. We were lied to, and many of us believe it. And many people want to hold on to those lies for different reasons. And I think we've got to be real clear that we've been lied to, and to the point of even trying to overthrow an election, and that this is bigger than just Democrat or Republican. It's about saving the republic.
Jonathan, I think so many things about your book are important beyond the big lie. I think the way you lay out that lying has really been a way of life for Donald Trump. It's how he did business. It's how he ran for office. It's how he held office. It's how he bent government to the will of his lies. But speak for a minute about the complacency of Republican leaders. And what is it about this guy? Why, at the beginning, weren't there more that spoke up and said, you know, I mean, I remember Republicans coming back from meetings at the White House, Republican senators going, he just sits there and lies to us. And I would say, well, why aren't you saying anything? Oh, well, you know, it'll take care of itself and we'll stop his worst instincts, blah, 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 blah. Speak to the acquiescence of an entire party that now has made lying a part of public service.
Yeah, prominent Republicans have showed display of cowardice in the face of Donald Trump since before he was even elected. We all remember Senator Ted Cruz during the Republican National Convention in 2016 stood up there and didn't offer an endorsement. He said, vote your conscience, and he was roundly booed. And within days, when it was so clear the force of Trump and his supporters were overwhelming and threatening to just flood and defeat Ted Cruz's political career, he's since backed off and became one of his most loyal supporters. The book details with new reporting about how after the insurrection, after Trump left office on January 20th, 2021, Kevin McCarthy, Republican leader, went down to Mar-a-Lago just 10 days later, apologized to Trump for using harsh language for him on January 6th when he spoke to the president to try to get him to get his followers outside of the Capitol. That shows just how firm his grip still remains, Congressman. And that is who, if not Trump, Trumpism is still Democrats' opponent this fall.
Yeah, I know it's early and this is a family show, but that really, that's infuriating. I mean, I work with Kevin McCarthy, and we were all there on the floor that day. We watched those cops in a 3-hour fist fight with a bunch of thugs. Innocent people got hurt. Sacred spaces in our democracy were attacked. I mean, they're all a bunch of sheep, and they should not be holding the gavel. And that is what's at stake. If you're going to put a bunch of craven and cowardly MAGA Republicans behind the podiums holding the gavels, you are going to get more of that, and it's dangerous.